The Igbo man wants to dominate you. The Igbo man wants to take you over. Let us be honest and speak truth to ourselves, so that God, who created us, will look at us and say, yes, these are my children. The average northerner does not like to operate beyond his natural habitat. Same applies to the westerner. Do your youth service in the East. Distinguish yourself. You get employed. You are even given a parcel of land. You are a Yoruba man, you abandon all that. You run back home. When an Hausa man, you do the same thing. An Igbo man picks up that employment and develops that parcel of land. Then you turn around and say he wants to dominate you. That's unfair to God, who created all of us. God gave us talent, every one of us, right? You don't bury your talent and blame the other people. I'm an actor. We have Nollywood in Nigeria. The British colonized us and left us with English language as a lingua franca. What does that mean? The English language he left us was to enable us to communicate, since we cannot talk in our various tribes and our various tongues. So we can communicate. But we are not, because we don't want to. Now, what is nationalism? In 1956, the Queen of England visited Nigeria. It was the Rolls Royce that belonged to Sir Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu that was used in taking the Queen round Lagos. I want you to quote me. He didn't ask Nigeria to give him a cover. No, he donated it. Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. And so everybody got to Lagos to be part of whatever was going on. You get a slice of the cake if you like. Because of political differences that have their reasons, by the way, our brothers who are Yorubas now turn around and say that we want to take over their land, we want to dominate them, we want to. The Igbo man never occupies anybody's land. The Igbo man is enterprising. That is his nature. He comes to your place, he begs you to permit him purchase a little parcel of land. You sell that parcel of land to him. He develops it. He wants to trade. So what does he do? He moves around the community. He finds out what the people need that they don't have access to. He sets up a small store and begins to sell those things. And before you know it, he expands that store. This is the Igbo man's life up till this moment. There is no part of the world you go to that you don't find Igbos. There's none. And by the way, wherever you find them, they're very progressive. Extremely. As a matter of fact, only a few days ago, it was announced on the CNN that of all the black immigrants to America, the most successful are the Igbos.
The Igbo man learned that the government has nothing for him. So he learned to survive on his own. You will rarely ever find an Igbo man applying to the civil service or looking for salary job. So the average one, even the ones I went to university with, they will go and attach themselves to somebody in the market. They will learn a trade. So they learned to do without government. They learned to discount the government completely. Which means that the Igbo man is better equipped than any other Nigerian to cope with our current circumstances, where the government has become completely useless. The Igbo man was already prepared for the uselessness of the government. So now that he is prepared for it, and everybody else have now decided to stigmatize the Igbo man, I can't blame the Igbo man for turning around and saying It's none of my business. Oh, enjoy your government. He didn't enjoy anything from the government before. So for somebody, and I'm talking about the average Igbo man who is like me and you. I'm not talking about the Ojius or Kalus of this world or the Okorochas of this world who have always fed on the grievances of Ndi Igbo and made money by appeasement of government and then presuming to speak on behalf of. I'm not speaking to those ones. I'm speaking for the average man on the street who grew up believing that he has no portion in Nigeria, which was what fed the Biafran spirit and the demand for Biafra even 50 years after the Civil War. So I'm not speaking to the man on the street of Ala Igbo. I'm not speaking to the trader in Alaba or at Aspanda or at Ladipo. All those ones, they have always lived with the mentality of being victims of the system. So when a victim of the system is telling you, leave me out of your protest, go and deal, because it wasn't gaining anything from the system in the first place. So if he wasn't gaining anything from the system in the first place, he has nothing to lose if the situation becomes, the only thing that is happening now is that more victims are being recruited into the Nigerian mess. So why should he, who was always a victim, further victimize himself by joining those he believes are responsible for his victimhood? Unfortunately, it only assures the victimization of everybody. But it is now incumbent on those of us who know better to help him to understand that, yes, we understand that that was yesterday. But for us to all come out of this together, you would have to move away from that pain to now walk. Now at least everybody is now suffering. Yorubas will say that it means that until suffering is democratized, it is not possible to end it. The suffering in Nigeria has now been democratized. Long ago, I predicted that the Nigerian revolution will start in northern Nigeria. The only reason I said so at the time is because the North had always been the reason we could not find common purpose to fight the evil. But now that the person in power in the presidency is not a northerner, and is at best a nominal Muslim, and the suffering has now been fully democratized, the northern street, I'm not talking about the northern elite, the northern street has no interest in forbearing and continuing to suffer. Why is it that all of a sudden everything that they tolerated during the years of Muhammadu Buhari is no longer tolerable? Have you considered that? Look, I don't know how long it's going to take, but if this mess continues, the problem that will consume this government will start in northern Nigeria. It's not going to start in the east. The Igbo man has more or less taken a position. I was always a victim. Go and solve your problem. Leave me alone in my little corner. If you lie, steal all the money in the world. You still take that money to a market to go and buy something. And who will you find in the market when you get there? You find the Igbo man there. Whether it's food you are buying, whether it's building material, whether it's car, you find the Igbo man is there in the market waiting for you. So he's already in a position of advantage. So why would he disadvantage himself unless you people show him a readiness for change? So that is where we are right now. It might seem like nothing is going to happen, but something will definitely happen. This system is not sustainable.